Why you call me my laptop?
Yeah,
That went in. You told us to it. Thank you, Julius, for the invitation. Let me say good afternoon to listeners on radio, on FM, OKFM, and follow us on the social media. Thank you. I'm happy to be here, Julius.
Okay, how's life going?
Let's try. You got to tell us too.
One day I'll
No, Jack, you're not just today.
Maybe tomorrow I'll tell us story.
Impregnate.
Man, say for your own enjoyment. Okay, no problem. Now, let's how is the county? How is Montserrado? Very huge county, a whole lot of people.
Yeah, when you are senator of the most populous, not the biggest county by population, senator of the most populous county, and you don't run a federal form of government where certain things are concentrated in a particular area. And everything you do, especially in terms of lawmaking, it covers the entire country basically. You understand that central government has a lot to play. But on the overall, Montserrado is calm in the midst of a lot of other issues facing the country and the people of Montserrado County in some areas. I heard you talk about issue of land and invasion and stuff.
Yeah.
So
That's the first place we.
So you can understand that as much as Montserrado as a county and the land space is calm, our people have issues and we have to look at those issues.
Okay, sure. So on the land thing, let's hear your own personal. I remember you wrote your personal experience about land. I don't know, someone duping you or something. Let's hear your experience first before we delve into this land thing that is taking.
Yeah, I paid some money for some land in Guazon area, and then by the time my wife put a cornerstone there, we received court precept.
Did you go through the processes?
Yeah, we went through the processes. We went through the who was supposed to be the owners of the land, and the community people to testify. Not only the community people testifying, but the documents showing proof. Yeah, the moral deed, which is the warranty deed, the administrative deed, the decree of sale from the court, and all of that. We pay for the place, and then by the time we planted our cornerstone, we receive writ from the court in Magibi County, because Dwazan is on that side, and that I was encroaching on somebody's land. Yeah, so, and I being a sitting senator, even though I know my right, for some reason, I decided that let it put it in. I don't know Wahala. So my wife got back to the people and they said they can give another land. I said no. If you give one land already in trouble.
You bring another one back.
Yeah. As light as I'm saying it, there's another person or other citizens who don't have that kind of money to let go, especially after they worked hard for the money and people dupe them. But if I had pursued that case, insisted that I have the requisite document through the courts, and probably if I had won that case, it probably would have been said that I used power to take somebody's property. So I just let it go. Even with the people, if I had taken the people who took my money to court to pay my money, and so you're taking advantage of. Sometimes you're in this public office, it comes with a lot of opinions, uninformed at times. So I just let it go. But it is.
And don't you think it is because of some of those things that the tricksters in land selling continue to do that? Because I think maybe people will get tired, they'll just leave it.
Government has a role to play, not just a role, serious role. First thing, those of you who follow some of these activities at the Senate, from the previous administration, President Weah administration, whenever people came before us for confirmation hearing, especially to go to the judiciary like a judge, and including Yami Bwese, who is now Chief Justice, when President Weah nominated him as Associate Justice, when President Weah nominated Siana Yo as Chief Justice, those were some of the questions I particularly asked for answer. And part of my thinking as a lawmaker was for us to digitize. Part of the ways to solve this thing is to digitize especially the probate court and the land with the land authority. Digitize those institutions. Because if you're doing manual probation of land deeds, if you're doing manual recording in this day and age of land deed, and you take it to the court, and the court, no due diligence at the court. We gotta be blunt about it. That same court that probated the land that Julius J. bought at Banaville Junction, marked by the meets and bounds. If Darius Dillon bought that same land and took deed to the same court, that same court will probate it because it's manual. But if we digitize the system and have a database, if you bought a property and it is recorded and placed in that database with a meets and bounds, Banaville Junction, to the player, this square, and all this stuff. If another person would do, for instance, and bought that same place, if they took that deed for probation, by the time you plug it in the system, it will pop up that that particular place has been probated, deeded and probated. So the probate court would not or should not probate a second deed for the same place. Maybe technology can help us when it comes to this. And then when the system starts to detect and book and deny and deprive second probation, then it will discourage the double, triple sale of one plot of land. Two, if the law is speedy enough to punish double dealers of one plot of land, it can also help. Three, if Julius purchased a land and he has not developed that place, and maybe somebody else purchased that place, maybe from the same person or from another source, which is wrong, and that second person started to develop that land, and Julius J. or nobody representing Julius J. raises alarm, and that person carry on development on the land, and the person develop the land, build a house on that land, and have stayed on that land for 10 or more years. Then Julius J. go to court and say the person built on my land, yeah, my deed, and the court found that Julius J. actually is the original owner of that land. And then the court, after the court processes, issue eviction notice. In my view, it is troubling. Why? Where was Julius J. for 10 years? When somebody was developing that land. Where was Julius J. or his agents or representation of Julius J. to place on legal notice to the person who now claiming or occupying that land, developing it, as in building on it? Where was Julius J. for 10 years or more? Where was Julius J. or his agents for 10 years or during a period of 10 years or more when the person put cornerstone in the land, when the person started doing foundation, carrying it to roof level, develop it, and is physically living in the place for more than 10 years? And then you go to the court, and the person is occupying my land, and then the court found out, because most times the decision of the courts today in Liberia, they are based on who got order deed. Doesn't matter whether the person who has the order deed sat there and did nothing, and somebody else who believed that they got deed probated by the very court, develop the place, live there for generations, and only in the end for the court to say, oh, the person who has the moral deed for 1943, say your owner deed was 1987, the moral deed for 1943 is the proper owner, so we're returning the land to the proper owner. I'm reviewing those other provisions of the law if they do not exist, so that we can review and make appropriate proposals for amendment for ownership of land issue in this country. And then you don't, if you sat down for 10 years or more and you did not put on legal notice, you did not go to the court or the land reform or the land commission to issue official notice to somebody who did trespassing on your land to stop, and the person ignored it, and you went to the court placed injunction, and the person ignored it. And at the end, after 20 years, when the court finally decided that the land you occupying that you built on, you were enjoined from developing this land, you still went ahead. Even if you build the tallest building in this country, the original owner can decide what he want to do with his or her land. I wouldn't have problem with that. But if you are the original owner, and some people buy land, they don't want to develop it themselves. They're keeping it for some generation of their children, grandchildren, and this and that. But it must be recorded. There must be notice to anybody else who, going on that land. The court can help to prevent second buyer. If the court does not probate a second deed for the same spot, I am placing this on the court particularly. But we at the legislature will have a role to play to reform some of the laws, to bring it up to speed, so that we don't witness what we are witnessing today.
Yeah, like the current demolitions are going on everywhere. The same time, for example, the person who carried out the demolition says about the land in 2017. The people living there since when I said about 1980 days, 1970 days, and all that stuff. Places like those kinds of places have always existed, that people live in, everything, there has been no noise, and then suddenly these things are coming about. What are you sensing?
It's a combination of issues. We are getting a lot of information. And somebody who occupies a political office like me, and that's the challenges we have. You have to either pretend at a certain point in time because you won't vote later on, or you have to have the courage to say the bold truth, even to the people who will vote for you or get angry not to vote for you. Some people making a noise, they are tenants. The people who own no property or build property on other people's land, they're not talking. So if I build a property on somebody's property, and I lease it to you, I'm not talking. You who leasing, renting the property, you talking louder than I will build on somebody's property that I actually did not own by law. Two, also, there are people who got deeds for some of those places. And the very court that is vetting some of them today probated those deeds. What happens to the court? The court becomes a problem to what's happening. And the law, we got to fix it. So that if any court probates two deeds that brings such confusion, that judge is a fit subject for impeachment and removal. Something got to be done to curtail some of these things. So I understand and empathize with the people that are going through all of these things. What I won't empathize with, at the risk of my political career, where there is alley, where there is alley, whether you are living in that alley or on that alley for 59 years and other than Liberia, once it was declared an alley and you build that, we'll bring it down as a government. Especially so when we won't open these places. But if it is a private property where the court issuing eviction notice to mass group of people like that, we got to find the proper legal solution. The court got to take some responsibility and be punished by the kind of judges and their rulings. Let me repeat. If one court probates 2 deeds for the same place, the court becomes a problem too. Any judge who issued that kind of ruling must face impeachment. But you get a property and somebody also claim that property, and the person developing the property, you do nothing. They finish developing the property, you do nothing. They now live on that property for 10 or more years. Before you cancel my property, I get order deed. Then, according to the current law, the court must rule on adverse possession.
What does that mean?
Adverse possession simply means somebody claiming a property, develop that property publicly. In a law, they call it notorious possession. A notorious means a public, a broad, a open. The person built a thing, a open. They living there. Everybody know that place they living. Everybody know that I work for them. For more than 10, 15 years, 20 years. Then you come out with your nothing for the non-mother's deed. And say, you built on my property. I'm taking it from here. The court must rule on adverse adverse possession. Because the time the person was building on that place, you did not take them to any proper legal forum. There was no notice to that person. There was no court injunction enjoining that person from constructing or developing that place.
Should there be something about how land is sold? We don't get these things in other advanced countries. Is there something wrong with how land is sold? And should there be some kind of government oversight involvement or what? Government
has the land authority. People go survey land. Surveyors and surveyors then will go survey the same land for different people. There must be, no, we get plenty for laws that encourage to punish people by the law. Mm. And the last time you were talking, the law must be the law. Mm. And let me put it on the microphone because you don't say it because it was a private message. Answer your message. Mm-hmm. I say I'm enjoying you, Yeah. You know why I'm enjoying you? Because when the Supreme Court said that Onyang from Enfield must be reinstated or paid for the renewal of a contract, that was the law must be the law. So we got to pay him. And I'm saying private message, I say I'm enjoying you, and myself rebooting myself on the microphone. That's the same courage I want to say, look, surveyors, the problem we're having in this country, the lack of implementation, the enforcement, the implementation of the law. All of us have that problem. Government and state agents of the state bear the responsibility. All of us have the problem. You get one of your friends, and you senator like me, your friend driving without driver license. A car document expired. Policeman parking. He loan your phone, he call you Senator Julius J. The policeman park me. Julius J probably don't have the courage to tell his friend. You driving without driver license, the policeman doing what? I will not intervene. One of two things will happen. That friend coming call speech for you. Simply for the courage
to say the truth.
To say the truth to him. But if you are Senator Julius J, you say, get a phone to the policeman. Darius Dillon, my friend, let him go. The next time that policeman see me coming, he will move on the road. Because Julius J, Senator Julius J will call him for a fine. All get problem, but the responsibility to solve this problem lies with us, with the people's power. The court is a problem, not just to land issue in the country, but even in a fight against corruption. To fair, speedy, and impartial trial. There is law for almost everything in this country. When people say, what are the lawmakers doing? I can understand. But my brother, the court is a problem. Somebody in my position, like my standing, must have the courage to say it. We now pass law on everything. Almost everything. Two persons can own one property, one land. Who making two or more persons to feel entitled to one property? That the court. Because the court is probating one land 10 different times. So everybody fighting. And when you go to the court to place injunction on somebody's encroachment or alleged encroachment on your property, the court places injunction. When the other person goes to the very court, while you carry your injunction ready home, the court left the injunction. Well, a second hearing so that you know that the court has lifted the injunction. Then the person who the court lifted the injunction or vacated the injunction in favor, you see the person developing the property, or you know that the person is violating the court instruction, people carry colors. So because if the court can do anything again, and then the colors the people start using. I'm not encouraging that. But I'm saying, what's happening? We as a national government, 3 branches of government, as much as we should protect, respect, and preserve the independence of the judiciary, because if the judiciary loses its independence, even by perception, the country going into trouble. Because when you hear people that think, you know me, I will take you to court, it suggests that we have a democratic society and people can seek redress and believe that they will get redress. But if the place they're supposed to get a redress is a problem, then a problem.
Is there a conversation needed from you, the heads of the country, so on this particular issue? Because it is a potential crisis point.
Indeed. And that's what the conversation was starting. Not just on the radio. What's happening is concerning. But can it be clear that there's a delineation, clear line difference between government yellow machine, government or borrowed yellow machine operating for government clearing alley. Let me be clear. Let me repeat. Any government alley, including Dillon House on government alley, and government will use that place to open for free passage for safety reasons and good health reasons, break it down. Even if that property was in the way for 40 years in alley, through public work with the zoning, break it down. But the claim of private possession or private property, private land, where people now live on it for generations, somebody can claim it, and the court issue ejection notice on private land. If there was no indication, no proof that all the time the people were living there, nobody claimed it, nobody put their own court record, that they play your building, they play your living, if for us, one day the court will rule, we can't take it. If there's no record, the court got a problem, and we must solve it.
His name is Darius Dillon. This is the OK Conversation, Senator Montserrado County. Let's move on to claims court. I remember there used to be a gentleman way back that time. We used to be regular callers, and he was nicknamed Claims Court because he was always pushing claims court. And I came in media and I think I interacted with him claims court. I don't know where he is now, but you seem to have taken on claims court. Why is it necessary?
I remember the name of the individual you're talking about. I think his name is Augustine or Augusta Jones.
Okay.
You know, in other countries, when you propose a bill as a lawmaker, or if something happens and you're doing a law for that particular thing to serve as a deterrent for the future, in other countries, they can name the bill or the law in honor of that person. I will name the claims court bill in honor of Augusta or Augustine Jones. Because I remember for about 10 years, even long before I became senator, Augustine Jones or Augusta Jones, one of the two.
If you are listening and you can get my number, and if you're around or your family person, we'll be glad to speak with you.
So it is not a Dillon credit thing, but it is a right thing to do. Some people are mixing the claims court to say, oh, why we won't create new court? The claims court simply is the court that provides the legal platform for citizens and associations and business entities or any other entity legally existing in Liberia. It is the only platform for citizens to sue government and agents of government like Senator Dillon for abusing rights, fundamental rights laid down in the Constitution. Your right to property is fundamental, it's constitutional. Your right to freedom of movement, your right to freedom of expression, your right to live, those are fundamental rights. And most places around the world, only government and authorities of government can violate rights. Now, I'm not talking about RRCE. I'm talking about RRG, HDS, rights. Let me be a little simple. If a policeman killed somebody, the person right to live, and that bullet that will kill that person is a government issued bullet and gun. Even if that policeman did it on his own, government issued that gun to that policeman. Normally, the police will discharge and disrobe the policeman and send him to court. And they will charge him with manslaughter or murder. There's a likelihood that the policeman will get convicted for murder or manslaughter for killing that person. The policeman go to jail. The family bury the person. If any. The claims court, as mandated and required by Article 26 of the Constitution, is the only court simply where citizens can sue government. There is no other court. The criminal code A, B, C, D, E are criminal courts where government can prosecute people for committing crime. There is no court. The debt court is the place where business transaction, if you credit from me or I credit from you, I won't pay you any action of debt, you can carry me to court. The tax evasion court is the place where government can carry business entity or individuals who are evading tax payment. Where do the citizens have to sue government for rights? If government wanted to exercise eminent domain over private property, to use the space of a private property for public good, the government can exercise eminent domain. But the eminent domain law says the private property owner must agree on the negotiated price to take the land from that person because the person privately owns it. The government wants it to use it for public good. So the government says, the land here, we want it. We won't pay for it to relocate you. The person must agree on the price. The government does not do that and you're not satisfied. The government still take your land, exercising eminent domains, right? You can take government to court only at a claims court. If you look at Article 26, it says any claim for rights violation will originate in the claims court. There is no claims court where any claim against the government can be originated.
So why these so many years we've not been able to have it? If it is especially mentioned in the Constitution.
But there's a thing with my salary reduction bill. They have a referee to get his rare card. Not many governments will want to encourage a claims court in a society that largely probably now, I hope people don't feel offended, where people don't even know their real rights. It takes courage for a government like our rescue government led by President Joseph Boakai and one of the leading voices in the government to say, let's do the right thing. Let's give our people the right to sue us. It can also help to reduce government excesses.
Abusing
people's rights.
Let me read Article 26.
Yeah, please do.
it says right to sue the Republic or other persons for fundamental rights violations. Where any person or any association alleges that any of the rights granted under this Constitution or any legislation or directives are constitutionally contravened, the person or association may invoke the privilege and benefit of court direction, order or writ, including a judgment of unconstitutionality, and anyone injured by an act of government or any person acting under its authority, whether in property, contract, tort, or otherwise, shall have the right to bring suit for appropriate redress. All such suits brought against the government shall originate in a claims court. Appeals from judgment of the claims court shall lie directly to the Supreme Court.
Where is the claims court?
This is serious.
Where is the claims court? What a provision! Everybody running for it, especially government.
Because they say from the claims court it goes straight to
the Supreme Court.
Passing through circuit and magistrate circuit.
And now when from the claims court I go to the Supreme Court, it says any such claims for rights shall originate where?
On the claims court.
Where's the claims court? To allow or provide a legal framework platform for citizens to sue government for rights abuse. For more than 40 years since the Constitution came into being, government and agents of government been running away from the provision. Government will give the people their rights so that it can inform us and government against excesses, rights abuse. When our claims court is operating, we, the government, and the agents of government will know that when you abuse the people's rights, they will take government to court for claims. A state security officer or a government official take advantage of people's fundamental rights. For instance, say a state security officer kill somebody, and the state disrobe that security officer. Most times it is to absolve the government from all the other compensation claims. And the person who that state bullet killed had 2-3 children, and all of them under 18 years. Who will take care of the children? Under 18.
That is where the claims court.
That's where the claims court come in to award just compensation. If the government took your property on eminent domain law and due process was not accorded you, or the negotiation you did not agree, and government just took it on eminent domain, the claims court provide the platform because your right to property is a fundamental right. It is written right in Article 26 of the Constitution. Your right, you can sue government to claim your right to your private property that government took on eminent domain without using the logical legal means. And there are different kinds of rights that we government and agents of government will abuse, and the people don't have any legal platform and or forum. Let me repeat, Julius. Code A is the place we carry capital offenses for prosecution. Capital offenses are life sentence or death. Treason, murder, rape is not death, but life sentence depends on the gravity of the you do statutory rape of somebody under 18 and the person is damaged for life, they can produce and blah blah blah. That capital offense, that life sentence. Criminal code A, you get code B and D and C and other things for economic sabotage, theft of property, and all that thing. Then you get code D for armed robbery related cases. You got code E only for rape related places. So all of these codes are criminal codes, and only government can prosecute. There is no place available for citizens to prosecute government for claims. It is only provided under Article 26 And the only institution that can establish a claims court is the legislature. Since I'm a senator, I'm honest.
So what do you say about? Well, it will just be another court. People could also sue through the current courts. Others have done it before, sued certain entities of government that they had issues with, and all of that. This may not be necessary.
No, it's very necessary because government itself has lost cases before, even in criminal courts. Government has lost murder cases. Government has lost corruption cases. Government does not always win cases. So there will be, even if it is not under this generation, when a court is existing, there may come a time there will be people with integrity and courage to say the government wrong, even though I'm a judge, but I walk claim to the people for abusing their rights.
But for example, on the environmental issues taking place in some places where the waters are damaged.
Correct.
Those are things that citizens
Those are
sue
rights.
government.
And there's an EPS officer. One early was killed or died.
Yeah.
As a national leader, let me put to be here, died on duty. It is claimed that he shot himself plenty of times in the head. It is also claimed that he was killed. But the fact that that thing happened on duty, the wife of Melvin Ellie, don't have any platform to take government for claims, rights, claims. Only the claims court. I'm calling for public support. Where's civil society for support to and thankfully this claims court issue is highly welcomed in the Senate by my colleagues. We're calling for public support and forget about it is Dillon. Close it out to the politics. Dillon will not be senator all the time. But let the court be there for citizens to sue government for rights violation.
LPRC bill, something new about it? What are the changes? Why are they necessary now?
So we submitted the claims court and then we've done the LPRC bill. LPRC is an institution of government that has been operating since 1978 on articles of incorporation. There is no statute of the legislature that established LPRC to give it governance, structure, and authority. In 1978, Madam Ellen Johnson Sirleaf was Deputy Minister of Finance, and the late Clayton Watterson, peace be to her ashes, was Managing Director of LPRC. And the government wanted a government-owned institution that will either regulate and or be the custodian of petroleum and petroleum-related products in the country, so the government can have an entity to have hands on and push on these things. So, but the LPRC came into existence by an articles of incorporation, and under the Liberia Business Association law. When you're operating under an articles of incorporation, it means you are a business entity doing business under the laws of Liberia. You must register with the business registry and get your business registration every year. Forget about what it is able to it now as managing director and all of us now with the rescue government. But including our rescue government time and up to 1978, you show me LPRC business registration renewal every year for the last 40 years. It's a violation. 2, the articles of the corporation does not place appointing power in the president of Liberia. Where are source of authority coming from? For any president of Liberia, beginning from Tobotan 1978 to Dothan to Ellen, Charles Taylor, Ellen, Tovia, and now Joseph Water. Where is the statutory authority for president to appoint anybody else?
So it is like it is a regular business entity.
Yeah. So where are the qualifying credentials that will qualify somebody to be MD, deputy for operation, administration, and all of those portfolios? Where are they?
Let me just pause you there. Is this Augustus Jones? Yeah, that's the man's voice there. I said that is your voice there, Senator Dillon. We have been here. We are talking about the clean school issue that you've been pushing from way back. Yeah. Okay. So I will call you after the show, or just continue listening. Yeah. Okay, FM 99.5. Okay, just continue listening. Yeah, so that's in there.
Yeah, so Augustus, I was acknowledging your effort over the years, crying for, whining for, yelling for, rolling all on the ground for the establishment of the claims court. And I was just saying, in other countries, that claims court will be named in people like you, in your honor, even while you're still living, because you are the unsung advocate for the establishment of the claims court to give the people right to fight sue government for claim on rights violation. So as I was saying on the FPRC thing, the governance structure of FPRC is not enacted by law. There's a 1989 act that gave one section to FPRC that said FPRC shall be the government institution to regulate, issue license, commercialize, and store and do everything when it comes to petroleum and petroleum related product. But there is no standing law of FPRC creating FPRC. The president can appoint anybody at FPRC today and tomorrow, or the same day they can go to work. No Senate confirmation, nothing. In fact, then what is the source of authority of all of these presidents before Joseph Boaga, and including Joseph Boaga, to appoint anybody at FPRC? So it is a reform thing it's not a Dillon show thing. It is a reform thing about the government. If you will notice that FPRC in fact issued a statement commending because it is a partnership thing. It is a part of the package for reform and legacy reform under the rescue government.
Okay. Now, at the Senate, there's Ministry of Transport, I know you are not at the Senate when it was passed, but this has been one of the most confusing things, and it continues to drag the government. What do you know about this thing, and how can it be solved?
Nigeria, you want me to be coming all the time? I'm enjoying this conversation. Good questions, pointed, and the platform to inform and be educated myself. I will veer off a little and then come back on track. You know, the transport LTM thing and the whole saga of the transport ministry reminds me about the port autonomy bill, where people say the port law that we propose as a sounds good and plausible. It scares me when it comes to certain people who are supposed to be educated, because civics will tell you that the legislature that can create an institution and assign functional authority, the legislature can take all of the function or some of the function and assign a different place. So when people on the microphone, on the social media, are intellectual center, this other lawyer, they take their function here and give to the other people that their function belong to the institution. Who get that institution the function? Let me give you 3 instances. When the Ministry of Justice was established into law, it was giving prosecutorial power. And the Ministry of Justice has always been the only institution of government to prosecute for crimes and represent government in any other cases that government is a party to. The legislature that enacted the Ministry of Justice took some prosecutorial power from the Ministry of Justice in 2022 and signed it into the LACC and gave it direct prosecutorial power. Don't go to the justice ministry again. Don't wait for the justice ministry. You investigate for corruption crime, go straight to the court and prosecute. You heard the justice ministry saying, we don't want to prosecute, why you're taking our power and giving it to the LCC? Because the poor justice ministry know that the legislature that can create institutions and some power can also really delegate some of the power by law. You have this Ministry of Labor, Youth, and Sports, created by the legislature, assigning labor function and authority in that one ministry. At the same time, the legislature took the labor function out of that one ministry that used to be Labor, Youth, and Sports, and created the Ministry of Labor and put labor function and authority in one ministry. Because the legislature has the authority to do that. Especially so when it's approved by the executive. It means that government think, right? Today we don't have MICAT, meaning the Ministry of Information, Cultural Affairs and Tourism. We don't have no more MICAT. We only have the Ministry of Information, MOI. No more CAT there, MICAT, right? Because the legislature that gave the Cultural Affairs and Tourism function and authority to that ministry, the legislature took it and assigned Cultural Affairs to another entity and created tourism as an independent institution.
The tourism authority.
You don't hear Minister of Information saying why you take authority, because they know he who assigns can take, reassign, reduce my function. So they put bill one here, this discrete argument. What they take function, who gave maritime function? The legislature. But that beside the point. In 2016, the Ministry of Transport under the UP-led government entered into a contract with this transport management team. The same transport management.
The LMTR?
Yeah, LMTR. In 2016, the Ellen-led government, through the Ministry of Transport, entered into a contract consummated with transport management so that they can do certain functions that the ministry have by law. The ministry itself in 2016 delegated the function to this company. In 2018, when the CDC government took over, they elevated the contract between two parties to a contract between the whole government of Liberia to concession. President Weah signed the communication and forwarded it to the legislature for ratification. Once the legislature ratifies it, it becomes a superior law over a contract that was consummated, because the concession with the same company, you listening?
Mm-hmm.
The same transport management company. When George Weah government took over the CDC, they took the Ellen government contract between this transport company and transport ministry and elevated it to concession. Concession means you conceding something. You conceding to something. You relinquishing something for a time period.
But that's where the argument is.
So once the legislature ratified it, it means the legislature also agreed that the function, some of the function it gave to transport ministry, the concession it as a government to the private entity. Now I'm not backing the contract, I'm giving eye opener.
Yeah, but there is a key issue there.
Mm-hmm.
According to people around President Weah and then Minister of State, now Senator Nathaniel Magio and others, that was not what we are sent to the legislature. So what was ratified by the legislature? Because what they argue is that the function for vehicle registration,
yes,
and driver's licenses were not part of that concession.
So then it now introduces allegation of fraud.
Yes.
The legislature ratifies something, the government of Liberia sign it and publish it into handbills. It becomes law. If what the legislature ratified is not what was published into handbills, it now is introducing fraud, which is a crime. Nowhere in the world where any parliament or congress, maybe they get it different places, different way. But with our constitutional democracy with 3 branches of government having different and some distinct functions, the legislature cannot prosecute for fraud. So in December of 2025, I remember that very well. The Senate under this government had a matter before us when our colleague, Senator Nathaniel McGill, and I consider McGill to be a person of relevance when it comes to his information. I'm not trying to say in a negative way of my colleague, but I want to draw a picture here. Because most of the things in our country is out of partisan sentiment and uninformed. Yeah. If McGill says something today, somebody say, "Oh, man, something, man, no, yeah." Because I'm a Christian, I'm not a devout Christian. My Christian doctrine and belief tells me that Satan can't touch you. If Satan can hear now in the form of Satan, the whole game, imagine Satan to have horn and all that. If Satan can hear Jen and say, "Dillon, Jesus is the Son of God." You think I can argue with Satan and say, like, Jesus is the Son of God? It doesn't matter who's saying the word, it is Satan. So sometimes look at the message before you look at the messenger. It's good to look at the messenger. But what is the messenger saying? McGill was Minister of State. McGill is now Senator. Forget about your political sentiment toward or against McGill. McGill stands in the Senate plenary as a senator, inducted as a senator, duly seated, and says, "This transport management thing, this is not what we send to the legislature. There's a fraud here." In fact, McGill is on tape in plenary, open plenary, of saying that even President William's signature was false to send the document to the legislature.
So in this case,
so now McGill's statement plus all the controversy now have invited fraud in this contract. The legislature cannot prosecute for fraud. We can only stand our ground on our side to push the executive to investigate for fraud. And when fraud is detected, it vitiates everything.
Yeah, because I have both versions. The one that contains the transport ministry functions and the one that doesn't contain. I have both versions. But in this case, honest, I kind of arguing that before the executive have taken this action of writing transport ministry, LRA, all these agencies to say we are going to transport management on March 1, there should have been some kind of investigation about this matter, but that really hasn't happened.
So the Senate advised the executive, in fact the House also did, on our own government.
Okay.
You know, we have an interesting country. Everywhere in the world, it is a general legal principle. It's not a maximum. But it's a general legal principle that fraud vitiates everything. What does that mean? If you put a pure, clean white bucket, you can see the purity of the bucket, and you pour clean water in that bucket, you will see clear, transparent. If you put small depth of coloring Kool-Aid, it dilutes the purity of that water. Already you can see clearly that the water is diluted. Fraud vitiates everything. But scarily, in Liberia, fraud does not vitiate almost anything. Because the Supreme Court shamelessly, in 2017, in the Liberty Party case, the Supreme Court said, Liberty Party complained about fraud. You demonstrated fraud. You proved fraud. But if fraud here is not sufficient enough to overturn the election result. So the Supreme Court diluted the principle of fraud vitiates everything. So in the transport management issue, there's allegation of fraud. It should clear our attention as a government. Investigate the allegation of fraud And if fraud is proven, one page was altered or swapped around, it invalidates the entire contract. Because fraud was, if the investigator and you prove that one sheet was slipped or tampered, even with tampered deliberately to place in something that was not originally intended or meant, fraud already has been committed by the outcome of that investigation terminated the entire contract on grounds of fraud. But we are not doing it.
We are almost to March 1. What will happen? What is because the executive mansion confirmed the letter written by the minister that they were removing these functions from transport to LTMR, and they will do vehicle registration by March 1. In fact, the executive has already started removing accounts and all those kinds of things.
The Ministry of Transport can't do anything. There is a concession. The executive probably have investigated. There is no fraud. The executive has to implement concession agreement, enforce laws. The executive is proceeding March 1. As of March 1, nobody will have to go to either of the two. You will have to go to the one recognized by the government through the executive.
Despite the controversies.
As far as the executive knows, there's no controversy. The aggrieved parties should go to court.
Okay. It is now time that I'm supposed to take calls, but I gotta ask him 2 more questions. Were you really affected by this rigmarole with the Nimba thing? Because you were not the active, punchy, grilling Senator Dillon whenever there are confirmation hearings of the youth and sports minister. Yeah, were you affected? You looked tired. You looked like, I mean, I can't take it anymore. So let it just be.
No, bossman. Let me tell you something, Julius. I'm not reckless, but I am completely, utterly, totally unafraid when I do my work. One thing I know that once I'm born and living, I will die. That's what the Bible says. We live and then we die. Where, how, when, only God knows. So I leave them to God. What people didn't know, I already confirmed colonial crime even before our confirmation hearing. And all my colleagues said, I'm not coming to confirmation hearing. Colina has the competence, she has the ability. I will do my work when she's in the job, oversight. The same thing I told Cooper Craft when he was nominated as Minister of Labor. My concern was on getting job for Liberians, and one of the ways we can create job or know that Liberians getting job or deprived of job is through work permit through the labor ministry. And I'm on tape doing his confirmation hearing to say I will vote for you. And I need to say this because I said it during the confirmation hearing. I confirmed Cooper Craft knowing that he's from Nima. I confirmed A.B. Kroma to be DA director, knowing he's from Nima. I confirmed Sekou Kroma, who is the current Minister of Postal Affairs, knowing he's from Nima. When A.B. Kroma then was replaced from DA, his successor, Anthony Swa, I know he's from Nima, I confirm him. I confirm Yamin Bese. I confirm him as Associate Justice under President Weah government, and I confirm him as Justice Minister under our own government. I knew he was from Nima. All these people were confirmed, none of them were cool or bad people. But when they're in a job and I'm asking them oversight questions, then they can't be because they're from Nima. No, it's not possible. So nobody can put fear in me about doing my job. If you follow the confirmation hearing of Colina Kra, I confirm Colina Kra as Deputy Minister of State for Presidential Affairs under our government. I know her upward, I know her qualification. I want to give her the opportunity to serve. And I told her during the confirmation hearing that after 6 months, I bring it by before the Senate. All the beautiful presentation you've done for us to review your performance. When I confirmed Paulina cried a few days, I knew she was Nima. I don't hate Nima people. I got nothing against Nima people. When we politically even felt a little bereaved politically that Nyomdi Kanga Lawrence was not named running mate to Joseph Boaka, we knew Jeremiah Kun from Nima. But we put our everything to make this government, to make Jeremiah Kun vice president of Liberia with heartbeat to the presidency. We knew it. He was not Baza man or fireman. We knew it from Nima. And we did that. We don't hate Nima people. And my advocacy for job for Liberians include Nimbayans. Unfortunately, jobless Liberians, including some Nimbayans, were the one attacking me for fighting for job for them. That the country will
07700 995 0555 995 995. A whole lot has been talked about. Let's hear from you out there. This is the OK Conversation on OKFM 99.5. You can place in your calls now. Welcome. Let's hear you. Don't find go ahead. You can please jot down the concerns. Let's hear you, sir.
Yeah, I want to speak to my friend and brother. Thank you for the clean code legislation that is pushing forward. But one of the things I think they need to work on is that when they pass these bills, establishing one entity, so the function are spread over into another institution. Can they find a way to narrow that those functions are delineated in a way that 3 or 4 institutions do not spread or do not have the same function?
For example?
When they are enforcing it, it becomes a problem for those that they are monitoring because...
For an example?
When we started PU8 way back in the 50s, the function of PU8 was spread with policy they call public works, water and soil, and all of those things. Some of the functions are still overlapping.
What?
Can they find a way that when you establish this entity, like you were talking about...
Well, I want to talk to Steve.
You can please put your headphone on.
My headphone, I want to talk to him. You listening to me? You hearing me? Steve.
Are you hearing him, Steve?
My mic on?
Let me put your mic on.
Steve, you hearing me?
Yeah. But it's not when you establish this entity.
No, 1 minute, Steve. So the PUA you're talking about is the Public Utility Authority, right? That was formed during the Tubman government that was performing authority over water business, current business, all that thing before we did LEC and Water and Sewer Corporation. Isn't that what you're talking about?
Yeah, but it's still happening with some of the bills you are establishing, some of the bills that you are passing.
So the PUA was dissolved to constitute and establish LEC and Water and Sewer Corporation. What other one you talking about that conflict because water? Guy own authority and LEC has its own authority.
Yeah, but there's some overlapping function with some of these entities. There's some overlapping function.
Take note of all of those and come to my office. Steve, let's do them together.
Okay.
Okay, my brother, thank you.
Okay, that's the Representative Alva Jones. Welcome, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Jeff. Let me say moving to our gentleman, Darius Dillon.
Go ahead.
Good evening.
Yeah, how you doing, sir?
God help.
Yeah, let me say thanks for your presentation and the family. I wouldn't want to speak too more, but I want to speak to the specific issue that has to do with LMPI. Let us agree the bill that came from the executive at them was simple with or was also. In that case, I think the executive has the authority at the time to veto whatever return that they receive. That is part of the lawmaking process. But specifically, I think the budget appropriated Normally, when the budget is presented to the legislature has that authority to make amendments or to delete portions if it is necessary. So, taking into consideration the current 2026 national budget, when it was still at a draft, it came in a sum of 1.211 billion. And through legislative work, there was additional of 64 million added to the budget. So in that case, the legislature took action and concurred and sent it to the executive. So instead of such, it means that when a bill is submitted to the legislature has that authority to be amended. Another case study is the action on the South. I can recall in 2022 when the action on the South.
So what is the
issue?
What are you learning? Where's the analogy leading?
Okay, the analogy is leading to the thing made on the LNCR. I'm part of the committee on concession. We took a stand and communicated with the executive. I acting as executive to support the opposition of the LNCR. But the point I'm making is for a claim to be made the draft LNCR concession that was sent to the legislature was authored, and in that case, the executive identified and did not veto it. That's the point.
You see that the problem we can be having? You didn't even say a lash. You didn't even get nothing to put.
But it is not the draft. The WIA's office is arguing that what was signed into law did not take away transport's function to do vehicle registration and driver's licenses.
And then in that case, that's where the investigation came in, and then the legislature wrote the executive, asking the executive to halt
No.
the entity.
No. I will not be a lawmaker knowing what we did and sit down here and for you to mislead the public. Is that so?
Hello, Dillon?
Yeah. I raised the motion in the Senate.
I'm coming now, hello, Dillon. We now forcing. We are in.
For children, I'm first.
Yeah, we
Hold on, our John. Oh, okay. I thought that's something. Go ahead, Chief.
in two separate chambers.
No, go ahead, Chief.
Yeah, for the House of Representatives.
You went off. I don't know what put you off, sir. But I think
So
you
the
can come
House,
back. I can't really
wanted
take
to
this
come
person.
in, yeah.
Welcome. Let's hear you quickly. Hello. I have you on, but you're not saying anything. And Representative Jones is back.
Yeah.
You can just conclude. And anything I will give you time on to tomorrow to come and expand because of time. Yeah. Hello. Honorable Jones. What's happening? I'm not. Something seems to be going wrong here. Let's see who's here. Welcome. Let's hear you, Councillor Gu. Council. Hello, Council. I think I'll put this phone off and put it back on. Something is not right. I'm not hearing people. I okay the call. I'm not hearing. Please wait. This is important. Let me put this phone off. Let me take this call from here. Welcome. Let's hear you. Hello. Okay, you went off there. Let's go international. Welcome. Let's hear you. Hello. Yep. Go ahead, friend.
You know, I like the internet law. This is a smart thing. And it was the same time when the 2020 election was coming. But on the fantasy, no, I'm not going to go on the fantasy. So they don't get that bill on day one. Now you bring it up King's Court. They sound fun in the ears of the common people. That, oh, you can sue government and we're going to your property. But that's another fallacy. So that they don't bring it down bill when they dragging it until election pass because he wants to win another elections. That's why he bring that thing.
Is it not a good thing?
It's not good.
Is that what I said?
Did he say the Supreme Court is? Did he say the Supreme Court is corrupt? Okay. No, I'm not sure that's how he said it. But what thanks. Thanks so kindly, sir. Let's take Councilor Gu. Welcome, sir.
Yeah, thank you, man. Thank you, Senator Dillon. Well, I just want to make clear clarity. Senator Dillon doesn't need to waste his time about looking for overlapping or what you call function in NM statute.
You Lord.
The doctrine of recency is clear. When two statutes speak to one thing, the most recent takes precedent. So if you had order zero to a particular function and you pass the law creating NEC, and NEC has authority to do that function, NEC is the ultimate institution to carry on that function because it is the most recent, the created institution. That's it. Simple. That's what I'm going to say.
Okay, thanks so kindly. Let's talk to this person. Welcome, let's hear you.
Hello, Julius. My name is Marilyn. Senator Dillon, I heard you try to analyze and give your opinion on this LTN matter. I'm speaking as one of the employees of the Ministry of Transport that was greatly affected. I was brutalized, injured by the police, and everything else happened. But I'm not trying to buy sympathy here. I'm trying to paint a picture that today you go at the Ministry of Transport, we feel let down. Almost 400 employees, we feel let down. We feel that our government has forgotten us. We feel that nobody gave us any attention. We can never fight President Boycott. We were the ones who stood in the sun and the rain and campaigned and voted for this government. But we feel let down. We feel let down by you as the Senator of Montserrado County. This ministry is posted in your county. Matter of fact, you drive right through our ministry to go to work. Now one day, we heard you stop by to tell we investigate this matter, we look into it. Ministry of Transport employees, their future is in the bottom. It's hanging in the bottom. Nobody can talk. Everybody just is sad. Go to the ministry, they're pain and agony in people's faces. People wondering what's happening. As I'm speaking right now, I don't know my own future. Our ministers are there, they have done their best. Maybe somebody will even call and say, why she go on the show, we fired her, or we move her from her position. But I'm not one of those people who will just sit back. We're tired of sitting back. We want somebody to tell us something.
But he is saying that the executive should go ahead because there was a concession passed. Hello?
Well, we work for the government. We cannot go against the government decision. But from the contracts, the contradictions, and everything, we still feel. And when we went to the speaker, everybody requested for an investigation. There was no investigation. We walked after that. We waited, and we were hoping that this letter from the executive marshal would have set the pace. But when the letter came out, somebody is not saying something to His Excellency President Boycott.
Okay.
Somebody is not saying something to him. And so, Senator, we know you say your piece, you sound like it's a closure, but for the Ministry of Transport employees, we take it as it is. We can't find our own government.
Okay.
We are in pain, we are in agony, we are tearing up, and just so you all know.
Okay, thanks so kindly. Welcome, and let's hear you.
Yeah, good evening, Julius. Good evening to your guests and Idris.
Go ahead, Idris.
Yeah, the senator talked about a lot of things, especially I'm concerned about the alleyways. He openly said any structure in the alleyway should be demolished for the good of the people, unlike those who are seated on private land. But Mr. Senator, just in Montserrado, on 12th Street, 13th Street, there are structures that are blocking the alleyway. You are a senator. Your citizens in the county, their structures are being demolished.
But the government minister on this week, and we're asking about the 12th Street. 12th Street passing to 13th Street beyond the Royal Hotel, coming to 12th Street. That alley is black. There's a huge structure there. 13th Street passing in from Boulevard Hotel, coming down to the alley. That is an alley. There are structures there. But the ordinary citizen that you're supposed to represent as a senator, their houses are being demolished. But
Okay.
these are new structures. The prominent people, their structures are on the road. They are blocking the alleys, the senator. And there is no statement because they are the people that govern the country. But the ordinary people that put you people in power, their structures are being demolished, Mr. Senator.
Okay.
What do you say about that?
Thanks so kindly. Let's take this one. Welcome. Let's hear you quickly.
Good evening to the senator. My name is Mama Sinkaba. So, Julius, let's call spade a spade. The truth is, the government, through the executive, is in support of the Liberia traffic management. If this government was not supporting this, I'm assuming and I admitting that the past government even passed the act that took away the function of the Ministry of Transport, they would have rectified it. They would have done something to address the situation. But the reason why the executive is not doing anything to address the situation is because she has an invested interest in this act, not taking into consideration the many family members at the Ministry of Transport who are about to run out of job. A government that came to power on the matter of change should not be proceeding in such a direction. It's quite unfortunate and insensitive.
Okay, let's take former Representative Akaras Gray. Welcome, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much, Julius. You know, I didn't follow the show from the beginning, but listening to the issue, the call. Senator, good evening.
Yes, sir. Akaras.
Yeah.
Honorable Gray, how are you?
Yeah, fine. I didn't listen to you on the issue of the island, but I want you to consider this, Senator, and I'll be specific because this is where I have represented before. The Raspberry Valley community, BNG that you give seen, from the time the country was founded, no public work ministry anywhere went and wrote that these are alleyways and people should not build on that. The public work ministry came on recent. That's where I grew up. They started marking things that those are alleyways. Some of the people that existed that they were assisted just the senator. There's a supplementary budget coming before you people. I think under these conditions, especially where people did not work for the construction on the alleyways, you people need to do some resettlement if the government actually wants to start paving those roads. The next thing they need to is I want you to go to Topman Building, 10th Street, near City Hall. There's an alleyway there. But if then the alleyway becomes the Topman Building, go to the rest house, single from 10th Street. I want you here actually walk at any time. The alleyways are congested, they are closed up, but because those are the affluents, the government is not breaking them down. But it's breaking the alleyways of the ordinary masses on the left hand side of single for the Capitol Building, and this is unfortunate.
Okay.
Charlestown, for example, let me just conclude on this. There's part of Charlestown where it says 18th Street. No marking has ever been done. No government attempted to open area of people go for the day on it. The government now is saying, I think universities will begin breaking those places down. This is unfortunate, Senator.
Okay, thanks for kindly, sir.
People wait for it. This is not where people wait for the day on alleyway. Because they have never existed. There are no of them are.
Okay, thanks for kindly, sir. We'll take two more, then he will wrap up. Welcome, let's hear you. Okay. Thanks so kindly. The final one, welcome. Let's go
Good
ahead.
evening, sir.
But they're not liberty we're talking now. Oh, yeah, okay.
Well, you
just-
calling your
yeah,
name, so I will know who talking now.
yeah, I don't know, no. Okay, what is it? Yeah, but I won't go to labor ministry now, she. Okay, thanks so kindly. We come back to you, sir.
Thank you, Julius. And let me say thanks to all of the callers, especially my friends from CEC. They left the claims court, they left the FPRC reform bill, they came to the one that seemed to be sentimental, I can understand. But let me repeat myself. Any structure that is in clearly defined alleyways, and the government want to use those places to open it to gain access to the people and the public for safety and development, break it down. I hope I'm repeating myself. Our fear as politicians of losing election is the reason the country like this. It took courage for us to do no-go zone with motorcyclists in the city. Because to not do it means you are threatened with the next election. Anytime politicians are more concerned about their next election than the development of the country, the politicians can likely get re-elected, but the country never gets developed. No system, no structure in place. It will take bold courage of the current leadership to lead the development pathway of this country. Let me repeat, without appearing to be insensitive, anybody in a clearly defined alleyway that blocking access to other communities and access to government, carrying development, or even fire service entering some community, once they are clearly defined alleyways, a government need to open up places, demolish your property that they break them down. Even it can be the best structure put up by Sir Darius Dillon, and he been there for 50 years. Once it was an alleyway before, and Dillon built there, break it down to open it, to gain access to that community and carry development and for public safety. Two, all my friends from CDC, including my colleague Akawas Gray, who called, I respect all of them. They play on the sentiment of the people. I was very, very clear here. Private property ownership is not the same as clearing alleyway. Private property ownership, I said, we as a government, we must look at this thing again, and especially so, the court that evades, the very court caused the problem. The judge is sitting down, nothing happened to him. I'm reviewing the law and consulting so that punishment can be meted on any judge from any court that probate one land 2-3 times. That court is the source of confusion. Prosecute the people who selling the 1-2-3 land, the one land to 2-3-4-5%. I said this over and again, but again, you know something I say, hearing and listening, they're two different things.
His name is Darius Dillon, Senator of Montserrado County. My name is
And lastly, Julius, please allow me 10 to 20 seconds. The claims court is where citizens can prosecute government. Okay, for rights. All the other criminal court is where government can prosecute citizens. The claim court is needed for the citizens, individual organizations, and even business entities whose fundamental rights are violated by government and agents of government.
Thanks so kindly.